But as in preparing for this, and like Tanner mentioned, we're the underpinnings for all this cloud hosting for the CAD workloads. So we see this all the time, all these attacks happening, being that we're part of that largest cloud CAD solution out there. But manufacturing, design, engineering are one of the hardest hit sectors when it comes to cyber attacks. And this is a 24 study that was done by Sophos, which is one of our cybersecurity tool partners. And the stats are fairly significant and I would say shocking. But over half of all of the engineering and design and manufacturing firms actually had some form of ransomware attack. Of that 65% of all the firms, 93% of the impacted ones actually had their backups attacked. Now, the reason that threat actors go after the backups is so that you can't recover once they encrypt all your data and you're forced to pay them the ransom. So 93% of everybody had their backups attacked, so it's fairly universal. Of that group, over half actually had their backups destroyed. So they were not coming back from their backups. 74% of all the attacks actually were successful in encrypting all the data. And then there's some really big numbers here, and I will preface this with saying the numbers are a little skewed because there were some biggies in the sample pool of firms that got attacked and paid out some of these ransoms, but almost 1.67 million in cost of recovery. That's paying people like us, that's paying attorneys, that's paying all the other folks that need to kind of put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You have an average or median rather ransom payment of 1.2 million, which seems like that's a lot. That's not the highest we've seen by far. We've seen 11, 12, $20 million payments go out the door to these threat actors. And then the downtime cost is huge, right? So if you're obviously impacting the engineering department and they can't do anything, or if it sneaks into the production facilities and they're down, they can't operate at all, those numbers get pretty large. Almost $2 million is the average, right, over the last 7 years of per day downtime. So if you are on backups, and we're going to go over some attacks here, and you're going to see real world examples, but it's often the case you're down for a week or more after one of these attacks, right? So pretty significant stuff. If anybody wants the actual document, you can just put it in the chat and we'll get you a copy of the report and you can kind of read it for yourself.